I screw this up frequently.
Yep, we're on. We're good.
We're good. All right. Hey, 1, 2, 3. Welcome everybody to the Sustainiacs. My new, really, really good friend from Texas is on, Emma, and his name is Gary Higginbotham, and it's a lot of letters. I would probably count them and then just call them by that, but it's really easy to pronounce. But there's a lot of G's and there's a couple T's and all that other kind of stuff inside there. Emma Whiteman is with me. She's the other host of the Sustainiacs. Introduce yourself, Emma, and let's get this rolling.
Hey guys, we're back on. You know me, Emma. I'm very excited to meet Gary and talk to you today. I can't wait to hear all about what you got going on. Michael's talked you up a lot, so prepare to impress me. I'm very
A lot of
excited.
pressure here.
Nah, you'll live up to it, my friend. You're an Aggie, right?
Yeah.
I mean, what's up with that, huh?
I'm a proud Aggie, but we're having a disappointing year. But
I was going to say you're proud Aggie, but are you proud? Are you a Jimbo Fisher fan, or are you over that already?
I'm kind of over that already. But
Yeah.
next topic.
Next topic. All right. So let's break this down, my friend. Really, what everybody and what's really been on my mind is how many turkeys are you going to fry this week?
Wow. When Michael was kind of pre-interviewing me last week for this show, we kind of talked about Thanksgiving, and what my neighborhood here, we've got kind of a 25-year tradition. We fry turkeys the day before Thanksgiving, and
Wow.
when I say fried turkeys, I'm talking like 40 or 50. We have 4 pots going, and everybody comes down and brings their barbecue pit. It's just like an all-day party from 6 a.m. till like 10 o'clock at night. And
Wow.
we'll probably do 40 or 50 turkeys Wednesday.
So more beer cans empty or more fried turkeys at the end of the day?
Way more. Well, whatever residual waste is left over is sustainably managed, recycled. We recycle the oil, we recycle the glass, the aluminum cans. So we're zero landfill.
I love it. That's perfect. That is perfect.
Oh
So,
gosh.
Gary, let's give us the elevator pitch on Circon Environmental. You and I talked, and like you said, we did a pre-show thing, and you're like, "Well, you guys are plastics." I said, "No. We're the Sustainiacs. We're sustainability everywhere," and that's what a lot of people don't understand is that it is needed, and efforts and collaboration are needed everywhere, even in the field of or the vertical the space that you guys are in. Tell us, what's the pitch on Circon? What do you guys do?
Circon Environmental is a national has and non-has waste management provider that offers sustainable waste alternatives across all industry sectors. We have wastewater treatment outlets, we have oil reclamation, waste to energy, product distillation, waste to derived fuel. And all these options assist our clients in achieving their sustainability and ESG goals. So, kind of in a nutshell.
Okay.
Don't
So
use
like
words,
so
you'll do.
so it's like what every young boy dreams of doing it at some point when he's like 6 or 7 years old, right?
Absolutely, been wanting to do this since I was
That's my way of asking. That's my way of asking. How did you get into this? What was the drive? You're a Texas native, right?
Yes, I was born and raised in Houston.
Does that have anything to do with it? I mean, you're in oil. This is kind of oil related, right? I mean,
well, no, everything in Texas is oil related, but
right.
it was totally by accident. I graduated in 1986 with a degree in finance, and if you remember back in 1986, real estate was really bad. Banking was bad. The oil industry sucked, and so I had some.
You're trying to figure out how to stay in school for a few more years. See if it got better, right?
That master's, so I had some buddies that owned an environmental company, and they were getting ready to get sold and purchased by a lot bigger company. And they said, "Hey, come on board with us. It'll be a good opportunity. This is a good industry." So I did, and 30 something years later, here we are. A lot of different companies along the trail there, but have been in the business for about 30 plus years.
Wow.
But yeah, it was totally by accident. It wasn't any deep desire to be in the environmental business, but it's worked out well.
Excellent. All right. So enough of this of the non-serious. Let's get serious here. How many turkeys have you ever blown up trying to fry them? Have you ever blown one up,
Oh,
or you seen anybody do that?
I do have a rule. You cannot put a frozen turkey in boiling oil. I mean, it literally ejects like a cannonball. So we have had to reject some turkeys from being fried. And if you get put on that list,
So how do you check it? How do you check it? Really, seriously, how do you check
uh,
a turkey to make sure it's safe to go in there? You don't have to worry about
yeah,
it, because I think my sphincter would be getting tight every time I put a turkey in there.
we prep them the night before. So everybody that's going to fry our turkey will be dropping it off at my house tomorrow night. So we'll check it then. It
Gotcha.
might still be a little bit frozen. We'll leave it, out. But yeah, we've had people that have brought one that was just like rock solid, and we're going, you can't do that.
No.
Our TRIR and OSHA record is completely clean, and we want to kind of keep it that way. We haven't really lost anybody frying a turkey yet, but
Good.
you get put on the naughty list for like 20 years if you bring me a frozen turkey. So you do not get invited back.
How early do you have to start to get all this going? I mean,
We will.
I don't eat turkey, so I don't know how long it takes. But
yeah, it's about 3 minutes a pound, and we'll start.
That's not
setting
bad.
stuff up about 4:30 in the morning. We try to get the first birds in at 6 a.m. and we'll go through 6 o'clock at night. It's an all day. It's an all day deal.
There you go.
Yeah, but 3 minutes a pound is that ain't bad at all compared to oven roasting.
Usually do anywhere from 10 to 12 turkeys per pot, and we've got 4 pots going, so that's kind of
Sweet.
Get to that. But
Sweet. I think we got some video of it and stuff like that later in the show.
Yeah,
or hopefully after you see it.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so let's get into things a little bit, because there's some really interesting stuff in there. When you talked about you sent me your bio over, and I was looking through some things, and some things stuck out to me. That's like, all right, we got to talk about these, because some of them are like, well, I just want to know what they mean, other than they're really cool buzzwords, and others of it, it seems like they're diametrically opposed to some people in sustainability and in business, saying they just can't live together, right? But first, you're like the king of quantitative sustainability marketing. Explain, please.
Quantitative sustainability marketing is basically using the data and having proven data points that have been checked, and basically messaging off that. And some of the data that we use is landfill avoidance, coal displacement, net carbon offset, waste derived fuel generation, gallons of water treated and discharged back into the ecosystem, barrels of oil reclaimed and sold back into the circular economy. So it's all data driven, and we can basically take the metrics as a whole and message on them, and then we can break that down by company, by how much business they do with us and how we manage their waste. And that's really kind of what the whole program kind of started for Circon. We started messaging on this really hard about 5 years ago. And the way we manage waste, we're taking it to cement kilns as a waste derived fuel, and we're bypassing going to incineration. And incineration, you're just burning it to burn it. And when you go to a cement kiln, they're using it as a waste derived fuel that's being burned for energy recovery. It's displacing coal. It's doing all the good sustainable things that everybody likes to hear about. But nobody really knew that there was a lot of sustainability metrics out there attached to it. So we started really getting that data, accumulating it by overall by specific customers, and then going back and delivering that data to the Exxon Mobils and the P66s and the Marathons and the Valeros of the world. And it was very well received. And they really didn't even know that they had this kind of sustainability metrics out there.
Yeah, Gary, I was gonna ask. This is a great point. I don't want you to stop. It's a great road to go down. But Emma, I'm sure you're thinking the same thing. Does this mean what it implies or what I see in my brain? What this implies to me is that there was sustainability going on that ExxonMobil and so on really didn't understand was actually happening already. Is that the case? Is that what you're saying? And then they got the data going, well, hey, man, all right, this is not bad.
Actually, yeah, that's really, a lot of that is very true. And really what we're doing, it's not any more expensive. A lot of people attach sustainability, well, it's going to cost a lot of money, I'm going to have to do other things.
Yeah.
what we're doing doesn't cost any more than what they were doing before. We just have a sustainable outcome with the way that we're managing their waste, where the way they used to do it didn't.
And how does that? So how does that work? And your bio says you're results driven executive with a proven track record for maximizing revenue and market share. Now, I could say that every day of the week, 100 times, and every day of the week, 99 people would call bullshit. You can't have both of them together, right? I mean, am I wrong?
Well, just some stats. I joined Circon. It used to be called STC in
Okay.
2013, and it was a small family-owned business out of South Carolina. They were doing
Yeah.
work for about 4 refineries in the country, and that's it. But not a lot of business. They were wanting to expand their business footprint. I came on board, and my background really suited them well because I was, a refinery guy. They were looking to grow the
Yeah.
refinery
Yeah.
business, so it was a perfect match for them and for me. And
Right.
fast forward 9 years later, 2022, we're working at 75 of the 100 operating refineries in the country. Uh,
Nice.
and I have a great team of people behind me. We've got a great operations group. My sales team is top notch. I'm gonna call out a few of them: Scott Heward, Daniel Gordon, Wendy Mason. They're instrumental in the success of the company. But yeah, if you're looking for results, going from 4 refineries to 75 just over the course of less than a decade, and there's only 100 operating refineries in the country right now. We're working at 75% of them. We move more haz waste, thermally treat haz waste than anybody out there. We've got service agreements with all the major oil and gas companies. We're actually one of the leaders in the space.
Wow, it's pretty cool. So what do you have, like some sort of secret sauce for commingling all this? Like a lot of people think that the E in ESG, environmental social governance, for those who might not know what that stands for, but a lot of people think that the environmental in ESG and sustainability might be mutually exclusive. Um, from these traditional C-level concerns, maximizing revenue, market share, et cetera, et cetera. Do you have some sort of secret sauce for commingling these two?
We really do.
Commingling?
What we really do, and it's really educating the customer. Like I said, a lot of these customers did not even know that what they were doing, really had a big sustainability benefit to it. So really, just kind of identifying what those metrics were, and then finding the right persons to engage with, at Exxon or at Valero or at Marathon. And if you could have great data, if you don't get it to the right people, it doesn't go anywhere. So we spent a lot of time trying to make sure that we got it to the apprentice. We really spent a lot of time on the value of the message. If we're a lot of our work is event driven. We're cleaning a tank, or they're doing some kind of remediation work. And usually a lot of eyes are on that, and you can tell them, during the bidding process, we're going to handle this in a sustainable fashion. You can message
Mm-hmm.
on this with the surrounding community and tell them that what you're doing is not just dumping it in a hole. You're not burning it for no with just to burn it. You're basically going to manage it with by displacing coal and avoiding landfill and doing all the the buzzwords that everybody wants to hear you say. And like I said, a lot of it is it doesn't cost anymore. It's with our program, it's really just a choice. We're not asking you to spend more money. Sometimes it's cheaper. It's never really any more. So it's just a conscious decision. Do you want to manage it? Option A, which is sustainable, or option B, that's not sustainable. And if price is the same on that, I hope everybody would pick the sustainable option on that.
Right. And it
Yeah.
comes down to education too. Like you said at the beginning, though, like even if they're like, oh no, I don't really care about sustainable, do you find that you then have to be like, well, I guess this is a two-part question. A, do you find that a lot of people you have to convince to be sustainable? And B, once you have this conversation, do you find that once they're educated about why I should care, they change their mind?
Yeah, it's a lot of it is in the messaging. A lot of it is that you know telling them that it doesn't cost any more to do this.
Right.
Immediately people think that sustainable cost is going to cost more. It really doesn't. So a lot of this is just actually very educational and really, showing them how to message on this. And
Yeah. Yeah.
Michael and I were talking last week. I'm a green guy. I like, I push the sustainability agenda. One of the areas that I really have a lot of conflict with the green movement is they want to go from point where we're at now to the final solution immediately. And,
Yeah.
there is not one magic bullet that's going to solve that
No.
problem. It's
And this is
No.
what we talk about a lot on the pod. Yeah, like
Yeah,
there's no
it-
way, and you
it's-
have to think about the steps and the life cycle.
it's thousands of bullets it's a lot of steps. And one of the areas that I think that the green movement does not do a good job in is acknowledging good works.
Amen.
If ExxonMobil or Valero or Marathon is doing something that's sustainable, even if it's a little step, they're avoiding 5,000 tons of landfill a year. They're having a net carbon offset of managing their waste of 100,000 tons. In the whole scheme of things, yeah, that's very minute. But if you continually do that every year, and more people jump on board to do that as well, it's those series of events that's going to get us, to the finish line. And the finish line is not going to be there in a year. It's going to take many years, but every little step counts. And these companies that are doing these little steps need encouragement. And if you encourage them and don't call them bad guys all the time, I think you will get, I think you'll get more buy-in. And
No,
Well, I think
you catch more flies with honey than sugar, right?
absolutely.
honey than vinegar.
Yeah,
I think honey and sugar is both pretty.
honey and petroleum.
Yeah, you're right.
But that's really what we do, and we kind of show them how to message on that. And like I said, we've been in corporate citizen reports at all these major oil and gas companies for the last 5 years since we started this program. And so I think that tells you how they view it, because we're a very small company in the whole scheme of things, but we're being mentioned in the annual report and corporate citizen reports of these major multinational corporations because they like what we're doing and they like the message.
So, is there anybody out there that's not using you guys that you'd like to name and shame, and maybe we'll get them as customers? Or I'm just saying, man, it is so obvious. If it doesn't cost anymore and it's doing the right thing for the planet, and it's giving you the data to be able to show, hey, listen, we're Phillips 66, or we're Valero, or we're ExxonMobil. You're living on oil. Most of the stuff that you has got oil in it. All your rubber does, all your plastics got the petrochemicals in it. I mean, if it wasn't for oil and what these guys are doing, life would be a lot different now, right? So why not help them and understand what they're doing and work together and collaborate than demonize and say we have to get rid of all fossil fuels today? Can you imagine if we did that?
This instant. Now, I will say that all the customers that we have, their footprint grows every year with us, and their sustainability footprint gets bigger every year. So, once they understand how it works, the positive messaging that they can get from doing it, that they do. The people that we don't do business with are some of the smaller one-off refineries. All the major refinery networks, what we do work with. I mean, there's some, we call them boutique refineries. They're out in the middle of nowhere. They're singularly owned, and those are the ones
boutique refineries.
Those are
boutique refineries. I love it.
Actually, they really are. Those are the ones that we have a hard time, engaging with.
Is that like single malt whiskey to get like a bootleg, not bootleg, but a boutique
allocated bourbon
barrel? Yeah.
They're fancy.
Yeah, right. Yeah. It's like it's from the Refiner's Reserve. This
yes, yeah, exactly. Extra aged.
extra aged. Now there are some I don't know if you have them around there, but there are a few here in Chattanooga where they sell like 100% gas, right? Or 100% gasoline, right? No ethanol or anything like that.
Right.
And they'll charge you like 25 cents more for it.
Yes, absolutely.
But yeah, it's kind of funny. So let's talk about what you guys are doing there. I don't know what is easier. You tell me. Is it easier to go through these metrics and kind of go through them kind of one at a time, and that'll give us an kind of what you guys are doing there and who your customers are and what kind of verticals you guys are in and the
Yeah,
processes you do,
yeah,
or should we do it a different way?
no,
Because I think that would be interesting.
I can go through the metrics for you. They're pretty self-explanatory. The
Well,
first,
yeah, maybe to you. Okay,
yeah,
you're right. Yeah. Okay. So what is the
stuff.
method coded H05 or H050 energy
That is
recovery?
that is
You're
one that
familiar with that,
really
right?
a lot of the oil and gas companies didn't really realize that they were taking advantage of. But anytime you get
Yeah.
rid of a waste, whether you
Yeah.
landfill it or you incinerate it or you take it for reclamation, it's attached to code, and it's
Right.
called an EPA management method code. And normally, when you just send something to an incinerator to burn it, it's coded HO40, which is basically burning it with no value, just burn it to burn. When we route stuff to a cement kiln as a waste derived fuel, it gets coded HO50, which is for energy recovery. So that's the first metric. We will be able at the end of the year, we could show ExxonMobil or whoever how much tonnage of waste that they got coded for energy recovery as opposed to just thermally
So
treating it for no benefit.
so that is extracting energy or some other energy benefit from the waste in the process of getting rid of
Yes,
that waste, right? Like
yes.
burning methane off of a landfill would
Uh,
be
Basically, what they're
HO50.
doing, they're displacing coal. Normally, the cement kilns, their primary
Gotcha.
heat source is coal, which is the bad actor of all bad actors. And
Sure.
everybody's trying to decrease coal usage, and basically this does. And the waste derived fuel that we send to the kilns, it's displacing coal at about a 56% ratio.
Okay, so what's the difference? What's the benefit of what you're sending there versus coal? I mean, it
Uh,
is what you're sending 100% green, or is it a percentage better? What's the
no,
deal there?
and that's another metric. We get into the net carbon
Sure.
offset or net carbon avoidance,
Okay,
and
so
basically
it's
what
better
that
than coal, but it's not perfect. Is that what we're
yes,
saying?
it has
Okay,
a lower
gotcha.
greenhouse gas footprint than coal, and you're
Nice.
substituting at a 56% ratio. So that's how we get that net carbon offset number.
Is
Uh,
that let me ask you this real quick because I've learned some things over the last few years in logistics as they've been really moving towards alternative fuels, et cetera. And I want to show off how
yes,
brilliant I am by asking these questions. Is the energy density of what you're doing as good as coal? In other words, the 56% reduction in greenhouse gas emissions or whatever it happens to be, but are you burning twice as much as yours to get the same energy density out of it as you would coal, or is it as energy dense as coal, or what
no,
does that look like?
the material we send to the kilns is about 10,000 BTUs, which is basically what the feedstock is they want from coal. So it's basically
Okay,
the same.
so it's the same energy density is about the same.
Yes.
Yeah, that makes the 56% legit, right?
Oh, absolutely. And
And
then
that's, I mean, so that's part of the data that you provide. It's like, I mean,
yes,
because that argument I just presented was what some bonehead would say. Hey, we're going to greenwash. We're going to challenge this with a greenwashing lawsuit on ExxonMobil, and you guys have to be there to say no, 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 no. Here's the
well,
BTU. Here's the energy density, and all that other kind of stuff. This is actually legit
and
stuff, right?
it was kind of cool the way we kind of got this metric. We knew there was a metric there, and we didn't want to get to it ourselves. We wanted to have some input from the
Sure.
generators. So we put together a panel. It had a couple of large oil and gas companies, a couple of representatives from the cement kiln industry that we send the material to, and we scheduled a series of conference calls over the course of a month. And by the end of the month, we came up with a formula that everybody blessed, agreed with, and said, okay, that's what we're going to use. So it's as legit as it's going to be, and it was basically legitimized by the cement kiln industry and the oil and gas industry. So we feel pretty good about that, the way that is calculated, because we didn't calculate it, our customers did. So one of the other metrics by going when you just burn something in an incinerator, there is a 50% ash ratio on the back end. So if you send 1,000 tons of material to a wrecker incinerator, you're going to have 500 tons on the back end. Going to a cement kiln, since they operate at such a higher temperature, there's zero landfill on the back end. So that's how we get that landfill avoidance metric. So
Nice.
If you send
Nice.
1,000
Nice.
tons to a Wrecker cement kiln, you'll have zero ash on the back end. Whereas if you send that same amount to an incinerator, you've got 500 tons that ends up in a landfill. So
Okay,
that's
so
one of the
where are you getting this? Where it sounds like it's a solid fuel that you're burning. Is that right? I mean, because
it can
what
be
we
both.
talked about, I imagine all liquids all the time. You talked about tankers and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
what is it that you're sending these guys? Is it dried out sludge or something, or what?
We'll send liquid sludges and solids to the kilns.
Gotcha.
We
Got it.
have patented offload equipment at the kilns, but we're not actually brokering to the kilns. We're a partner with them. They could not receive this waste if they didn't have our technology there to have them, be able to offload it. But yeah,
Gotcha.
we're taking solids, liquids, and sludges there to the kilns.
Very cool.
I have a question about. Oh, sorry. Keep going.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Do you think? Are there a lot of? So, I mean, obviously, I love data. My background is in science. I think it's like the one true, like, I guess, truth there is, if done correctly, out there. I guess my question was, are you seeing a lot of like legislative bodies and organizations demanding that these companies make these changes? And is that driving any of this, or is the data really just a way to convince? Like, I guess if you're seeing this, are you seeing that it's data backed, or are you just seeing that you're able to convince these companies without that pressure on the back end of saying, okay, I really, I need to do this? Are you able to just use it to convince them and be like, okay, this is what we have to do because here's what the data says? If that question makes sense.
It's more educational, as I said earlier, because the EPA has approved the cement kilns as an outlet for these type of waste streams. So the regulators have already said it's okay to do it. It's just a matter of convincing them that it's the right thing to do, or it's better than what they're currently doing. So it's really education more than it is anything.
Or the opponent or the people who are opposed to this, convincing them that at least it's a step forward, man, and we got to figure this out as we go forward. Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But
do you see this along the same vein? A follow up to what Emma, because she's going down a cool road here, and I want to take it one step further, if you don't mind. Do you see this as an opportunity to get ahead of potential EPR legislation by promoting what you guys are doing? I mean, not stopping it, but at least having a conversation as to what some of this EPR may be in the fuel, in the oil and refining business.
I think the fact that they're publicizing this in their corporate citizen reports kind of tells you their feeling on it, and that they feel good about it, and that they're trying to get ahead of it. I would say that's how I would answer that question.
That's what I suspected. Getting ahead of it is good. I think also the efforts, hopefully legislators will look at the efforts and help those that are making these efforts prior to law or legislation or mandates have a seat at the table as to what is going to work and what's not, and just going down the slippery slope of, now we're not going to eat any meat in England. We're now vegan.
I think it's cool. Yeah, it really is, because like I work in waste management kind of as well, completely different waste, but it's something that like a lot of people are seeing nowadays is legislative bodies are forcing them to make these huge jumps without looking at the full, like, okay, what will this entail? Is this actually the right thing to do? Michael and I talk about it on this podcast too. They have these like all these bans they're trying to do with plastics, and they're not looking at it fully. So I guess that's where I was kind of going with it. Like, it's data.
It's all data, and like I said, a lot of this data, these people didn't even know it existed, or they didn't know that they were, they said, "Wow, we've been doing really good, and we didn't even know it."
Right.
It's literally that simple. And when we started this program 5 years ago, I mean, it took us forever just to find the right person to get the data to. And now, 5 years later, I mean, I get calls, Gary, where's our stuff? We need our metrics. We need that for our annual report and our corporate citizen report. So it's come full circle. It really has.
I mean, it is brilliant. You're like giving them ways to market their company.
Yes.
Cool.
Well, absolutely. What millennial is going to, or who's coming out of college right now and going, I'm going to work for the oil? They're really pro planet. I mean, they got to have like I'm not trying to be offensive to them or anything like that. I'm from logistics, and anybody who went to Georgia Tech, got a computer science degree, and said, man, I want to go work for Yellow.
Yeah.
Nobody. But now they do, because it's changed, and they understand that there's a lot of data science and tech involved in supply chains and trucking and that type of stuff. Same with this industry, right? You think of dirty oil riggers and stuff like that out there, on the rigs in West Texas and stuff like that, and you don't think about the environmental aspect of it and the data aspect of it and the new technology aspect of it, and really getting that into the minds of that new talent, right? You've got to have sustainability, and you've got to be able to prove it. Otherwise, you are not getting the new talent into your company and retaining them.
Yeah, and like I said, a lot of the people that I engage with at these companies, it's younger people that are
Sure.
getting assigned to the sustainability department, and which is kind of nice, because you've got a really you're pitching to an audience that's receptive to what you're selling.
Yeah, exactly. And the other people that are there
It
that
used
want
to
to
always be that
retain.
way.
And no, I'm sure it hasn't. I mean, how long has it taken for them to jump on? You mentioned about 5 years. I mean, are they behind everybody else and catching up, or
Uh,
was
I wouldn't say that. I mean, we're predominantly refining industry, the refining sector, and
sure.
you know, uh, everybody's trying to do something. I mean, it's just everybody's looking for the total solution, and they're not looking at the little things that you can do along the way. And I think
Yeah.
that's kind of where we kind of were kind of a breath of fresh air, because we were telling them, hey, some of these little things that you're doing, add up to a lot if you message it
Yeah.
properly. And,
There's
and
some other really cool things here that you guys are in your sustainability metrics tracked by Circon at that the table that I have in here, Emma. If you're seeing that, it's really cool. Some of the other stuff we've talked through about a third or so of them, but I'm looking at water conserved from container cleanouts. Right? Can you get into some of that other stuff? I get the sludge and the waste derived fuel generation. I think we've got that. Unless you've got anything else you'd like to highlight there, which you're welcome to do. I'd like to move on to some of these other ones. Some of this
yeah,
like water conserving.
And kind of sorry to just to piggyback before you start, like, are these metrics that are commonly tracked by other people, or are you guys really the only ones that are kind of tracking this data?
No, the water and the high density polyethylene liners not ending up in landfills, that's kind of very specific to Circon, and that's because we have some specialty patented transport trailers that we transport waste in. We've got one for liquids and sludges. They're called Rob rollers, and that's the patent on it. But basically, it's just a
Wait,
5,000
Rob rollers. How do you spell that?
Robe roller, Robbie roller, and basically what it is just a standard 5,000-gallon tank truck that has a paddle wheel agitator along the horizontal, and we can put in real heavy sludges, 10, 12,
Love it.
15 pounds a gallon, specific gravity. We can load those tankers with that and transport that. And during transport, we can keep it in suspension. Whereas if you just put that in a non-agitated tanker, when you got to where you were going, you would be digging it out with a shovel and a pickaxe. So
this is cool. I'm looking at images. Sorry.
Yeah, no,
I got excited.
We've got pictures on our website, but we're the only people. We've had the patent on that for a long time. We're the only people that have that. That's kind of our substitute for a vacuum box. And then we have what we call dry bulk tankers, and these are basically the 3-compartment cement trailers that you see on the road all the time. We've basically modified those, and we'll basically fill each one of those pods with waste. And and that is our substitute for a roll-off box that you see all the time.
Oh, okay.
Now the great thing about this is the Rob roller and the dry bulk tanker, they are twice the capacity of a roll-off box or a vac box. So we're optimizing your transportation by 50%. So if you had 100 roll-off loads, you would only need 50 of ours. So in the carbon footprint that goes along with all that additional over-the-road transportation.
Wait. Why? How is? Maybe I missed it. I was listening, and then when you said half, I was like, "Wait a minute! I should have probably been paying attention for the last 10, 15 seconds." How are you reducing the capacity by 50%? Or
we're able to our payloads are bigger. Our payload in a rob roller is about 44,000 pounds. Our payload in a dry bulk tanker is about 48 to 50,000.
Why is that better than a regular tank truck that doesn't have the rob roller in it?
Well, you couldn't haul sludges in a regular tank truck. It has to be pure liquid.
Hey.
You wouldn't be able to haul sludges in it.
Okay. All right. I got you.
And
So
then
you just couldn't.
right,
Yeah.
and how we get three metrics out of that. We get the optimized transportation, so we have fewer over the road loads. We don't use liners in our dry bulk tankers. If you put anything in a roll off box, you have to have a liner, so you've got that high density polyethylene liner that ends up in a landfill forever that doesn't biodegrade. We eliminate the use of those, so we don't have that. And then both the tankers, the rob rollers and the dry bulk tankers, they have a solvent wash at the cement kiln, so we don't use any water. So a typical washout on a tanker or a roll-off box or a vac box is about 200 gallons. So you're conserving. That's 200 gallons you're not going to use because our specialty tankers don't need it for a washout. We saved almost just last year in our transportation by using our specialty tankers. We saved almost 1 million gallons of water just from washing.
Wow.
Nice.
So,
Now that water, plus the energy to clean that water would have to have been treated as well, right?
yeah, it would either be
After a wash.
It would be treated, deep welled, or incinerated.
Okay. Well, right. So let's jump into that because that's in here as well. This is like the last one, but you just mentioned it. Water treated, not deep welled and discharged back in the ecosystem. What is deep welling? What are we talking about here? This is going to catch some attention. What the hell is going on?
I'm sorry?
Is this like outfalls, like where they treat?
No, these are like there's deep wells all over the country. But basically it's like a salt dome, and they will basically just inject waste, into the ground, into these caverns, and it's gone forever. You're not recycling it.
Supposedly,
it.
We hope it's gone forever. It's just in a big hole in the earth, right?
Exactly, and so.
What are they doing? So like I grew up in Cleveland or Fairport, Ohio, right next to it where the Morton salt mines are underneath Lake Erie and stuff, like huge mines, right?
Yes.
They're going to fill that with waste someday. Is that what we're talking about? They would just put...
You've got to get these permitted by the EPA. The ones that are permitted,
wow.
It's a safe way to get rid of it. But I mean, from a sustainability standpoint, it's not because, you're, dumping it down a hole forever.
Yeah, you're like filling up the bottom of the Yucca Mountains with nuclear waste, right?
But yeah,
something like that.
All the water we bring in, we treat and then discharge back into the ecosystem. One of the other ones I want to just touch on very lightly here.
Please.
Our oil reclamation site. It works under a couple of exemptions: the commercial chemical product exemption and the 2911 OBSM exemption. And basically, those are specific to hydrocarbon bearing waste. So anything that has a quantifiable percentage of hydrocarbon, we're able to take in on a bill of lading instead of a haz waste manifest. So it's really sustainability on steroids because we're able to get it out of the waste classification completely. And then we take it on a bill of lading. We basically process it. I think we did the equivalent of about 20 to 30,000 tons last year that would have been a waste. And what's good about that is all your generators, the Exxons, the Marathons of the world, at the end of the year, they have what they call an EPA annual waste summary. And you have to basically categorize all the waste. Everything that you send under this exemption is excluded from that, and they get taxed on that. So you're avoiding taxes, and you're getting it out of the waste category completely. And that's one of the other areas of sustainability that we track. One of the metrics as well.
So that is really interesting. And for me can you clarify it a little bit to me? Right, you said that you have the ability to move, I guess, something that has a quantifiable hydrocarbon content. Is that what you said?
Yes. Anything has.
So explain what that means. Explain what that means, and then why it is different to move it on a bill of lading rather than a hazardous material manifest.
Okay. really it's very subjective, the hydrocarbon component of it. But I mean,
Right.
the generators, they want it to have an appreciable amount of oil, 20, 30, 40% oil before they do it. And then if it has
Okay.
that, they will basically let the exemption allows them to ship. They have two avenues. You have the commercial chemical product exemption, which is basically for
Hmm.
all industries. The
Okay.
2911 OBSM is specific to the refining industry.
Okay.
2911, the
Okay.
SIC code for refining. But those two
Okay.
exemptions, you can ship under that. It is shipped on a bill of lading, so it's not a waste. It's not on a manifest. It doesn't count towards your annual waste summary. You're not taxed on it. All these states have weight, has waste.
It's easier to ship it via common carriers,
Yeah,
etc.
exactly. And when we get
Gotcha.
it, we're basically running it through a three-phase centrifuge. We're going to get a water phase, which we basically treat, discharge back into the ecosystem. We recover all the oil; it's sold back into the circular economy. The generator, we get a credit back towards to them on it, depending on the grade of the oil, and then all the
Beautiful.
solids that we get, we basically manage that through the cement kilns, like we do all the other stuff. So
Yeah.
it's
No, it's
it's
beautiful.
it's a closed loop system. There is no lingering liability for any generator that goes out there to do that.
Wow, that's pretty cool, Emma. Where does this come from? Where is this like 20% oil or whatever it happens? What is this discharge? Is this and what was it doing before? You have anything quantified on this? Like, are you saving like millions of get barrels
Uh,
of
you know,
oil over a what?
we
Because that sounds really significant to me.
yeah, it is very significant. There's not that many people that do that. The only way, I think there's only a couple 29 commercial 2911 facilities. We have one of them. The refineries can go, refinery to refinery. Like within Valero Houston can go to Valero Texas City, because it's a refinery to refinery transaction. But there's really not that many commercial outlets out there that do that. We're one. I think there may be one or two other ones, and that's it. So, but yeah, it's we just got the permission from the EPA to do it. God, really 2 years ago. So we just really got
Oh
into it
wow.
in the last couple of years. But we've doubled or tripled our business every year. The first year we did it, I think we moved 15,000 barrels. We're going to do, oh God, we're going to do 223,000 barrels this year, which is
Wow.
basically about the daily throughput of a large refinery here in the U.S. So
Yeah, it is significant, and you're like,
it,
and
it,
it's
it,
like,
it really
and
is.
there's like relative. There's relatively almost nobody doing it yet, too, which is exciting because it's a
Yeah, well, and
lot of
this is
stuff.
stuff that would be going to an incinerator, or
Yeah,
it's a waste somewhere, and
or being deep welled.
yeah. Now, I would like to go over. I would just want to give y'all some
Please.
metrics, just as a company, not specific to a specific like an Exxon, but just that is a
Yeah, go for it, man. We've learned a lot. I've learned a ton of here what you guys are
so
doing here, and
so
that's exciting
so
stuff. Yeah, go for it. Give us some
basically,
stats.
last year we treated 152 million gallons of water
Wow.
through our outlets.
So
Um,
treated means you've saved it from becoming wastewater, and now it's usable again.
well, it's discharged back into the ecosystem. So yeah,
Right on.
yeah.
Beautiful.
It,
Beautiful.
we last year we moved 56,000 tons of hazardous waste to the cement kilns as a waste derived fuel. We displaced 31,000 tons of coal. We had 28,000 tons of landfill avoidance. Now think of how big of a pile 28,000 tons is. It's a pretty big pile. That
Yeah, I mean,
eliminated from a landfill.
well, it depends on if it's feathers or lead, though. Really,
Yeah,
just to be a prick about
we
it.
we had 135,000 tons of a net carbon offset that went back to our customers.
Wow,
We had
nice,
223,000 barrels of oil reclaimed.
nice.
We have a division that does, we call it engineered fuel, but basically you're taking material that is being landfilled, but it has some type of BTU value, and we basically process it and then send it to biomass facilities, non-haz cement kilns, pulp and paper mills, and they use it as a fuel. But we processed 87,000 tons of that last year. So that's 87,000 tons that would have been in a landfill that was repurposed as a waste to energy engineered fuel.
Wow. Okay. Awesome. And has that fuel, that's a greener fuel than would be normal. And what is that fuel being used for? Is that like in place of heating oil or
Yeah,
in place
and
of?
they're using it to generate steam at these waste to energy plants.
Gotcha. Gotcha. So diesel generator instead, they're using this fuel, et
Exactly.
cetera.
And this is
Gotcha.
stuff that would 100% be landfilled. It's plastic products,
Yeah.
and they're not usable as is. We have to have processing facilities to get it into a usable
Sure.
format for fuel. So we kind of do that processing and do that. So, like I said, we kind of touch all aspects of sustainability within the company.
You guys are killing it. You guys are killing it. And Circon I mean, to be clear, Gary is not the chief sustainability officer of Circon and doing it just for themselves. Circon Environmental does this for other companies. You are the back office environmental processing for all these Exxon Mobil, Phillips 66, Marathon, all these, and many, many more, right?
They trust us to manage their waste, and like by doing so, they the sustainability is reflected back on them.
That's awesome stuff. It really is, Gary. Emma, you got any more questions for Gary, or should we save them for the next time we have him on?
I mean, I did have one question, but I can save it if he's going to come
No,
back.
lay it on. He's going to come again.
It's not technical. It's not anything. Like, what got you into this? Like, what's your story? How did you get here? Like, this is also interesting, and it's something that I've never even considered before. Like, how did you find your way here?
I was the VP of sales for the company, and we were being successful. We were getting moving our way through the oil and gas industry, bringing new customers on, and we just we knew there was another angle to our sales process that we thought sustainability could be the answer to, and we really just kind of researched all these metrics. I mean, we basically just sat in a room and said, all right, well, we know we're doing something different. What is it? And we just really kind of brainstormed and came up with these metrics and then confirmed that they actually were legit. And then we started tracking everything. And then we started, trying to find out who within our customers that we needed to message to. And it was a program that started from nothing. And then we're kind of where we're at right now. So it was just a lot of hard work and a lot of people involved in it. And but I think we found the appropriate message. We found the appropriate person to get it to. We have found the benefits of that message, and we've been rewarded by being mentioned in a lot of these corporate citizen reports and annual reports, and a little bit too, Michael. We started the Circon Sustainability Leadership Awards this year. We awarded one to Valero, and we awarded one to Marathon. And I think I sent you some pictures of that. So, like I said,
you did. I absolutely have those. Yes.
But, we basically awarded just companies that are really doing the right thing in terms of managing their waste. And Marathon and Valero we had worked with for about a decade now, and they had just accumulated just a tremendous amount of metrics over that decade period, probably more than all of our customers, and we really wanted to award them by doing that. And it's kind of cool. We kind of wanted to make it quirky and special, so we had a special jacket made, and the pictures that Michael will show you have that jacket. And we gave that to Joe Gorder, who is the CEO of Valero Energy. Marathon was awarded to Clay Wofford, who is their subject matter expert for waste disposal there. So it was a lot of fun. We had a good time with it. It's our Augusta National Masters jacket just for the waste industry. And we're going to continue doing that every year.
Well, I would have never figured. I mean, with the I see your pings over there on the wall. I just have a couple questions left for when we go. So, what's your handicap?
I am a 7.9 handicap right now.
Nice. What's your go-to club, man? I mean, if you had to, like, Tin Cup, when he's talking about, hey, did you see that drive on number 4? That was a 7-iron, right? How about that putt on 18?
You
Oh,
know,
that was a 7-iron too. What's your go-to club? What could
I'm
you
probably weird on
rule
this.
the course if you just had one?
I hit my driver dead straight. I mean, I hit it probably
Oh,
straighter than my
wow.
putt. So
Off the deck? Off the deck too?
well, no, not off. I got to be on a tee, but I hit it needle straight. So that's probably my go-to club. I always find the fairway.
No, you have to play the whole round with just one
Oh,
club, man.
and I'm probably gonna hit a 7-iron on that.
Yeah, just like Tin Cup, right? I mean, a 7. It's interesting. Mine's a 6. I mean, that 6 just feels better in my hand. I don't know why it is, but it is.
See, now I had a lob wedge one time. When they were vogue, everybody was hitting lob wedges, and a lob wedge, you either hit it perfect and it goes like 60 yards, or you hit it thin and it goes 200 yards. And so, yeah, I had to take that club out of the bag. That was definitely not the favorite.
I have a 64-degree polecat that I bought. It literally was brand new. I think it cost like $14, piece of crap. But I practiced the Phil Mickelson flop, and I can hit that. I can hit that thing full windup, full power, as hard as I possibly can, and it will go about 5 yards.
Yeah,
just go straight up in the air and just bam. I mean, I can go over a 40-foot tree with that thing.
Now, I can do the same thing, but when I hit it bad, it goes 200 yards.
Yeah, absolutely. If you hit it thin, then you just hit a 300-yard drive.
It goes about knee high, and it's not going to get over any trees.
Emma's bored with this. Hey, Gary, where are people reaching out to you, and who should be reaching out to you, man?
Anybody interested in talking about sustainability or had alternative ways to manage your waste, you can reach me through our website. I think I'm listed there. I'm on LinkedIn. My contact info is there, but we welcome anybody that's interested in maybe trying to look at alternative ways to manage their waste or kind of dip a toe into the sustainability movement. We would be happy to talk with you and give you some options on that.
Excellent
So
stuff.
cool.
You can reach. Yeah, and Emma, where are they reaching you at? Tell them where to reach us and why they should reach us, other than we're really cool.
If you have any questions for Gary and for whatever reason you don't want to reach out to him, he's very intimidating, I know. Send him our way. We'll talk about it next time. We hopefully will get him back on the air because it was a great conversation. Obviously, at any time, you can find me, Emma_Sustainiacs. We have Sustainiacs@gmail.com. We have the Sustainiacs pretty much anywhere you can think that we'll be. We're probably there. So find us, leave us a comment about what you think about this. This was so very interesting, and I'm sure we'll have tons of questions about it. So
absolutely, and we'll have Gary back on again because we're going to follow those metrics, and I'm sure there's going to be more.
I look forward to it. I've had a great time today. Y'all are great hosts, and thank you very much for allowing me to be on the show today.
Maybe next year we'll do it live from the turkey fry. Who knows?
Ooh, I'm interested.
Hey, everybody, have a great Thanksgiving, or maybe this might be after Thanksgiving. So just peace and love, whatever time of year it is. Doesn't matter. Be well.
Thank you.